here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another. And today's teacher is Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Now, for those of you who are new to the show and this is the first time you hear Dr. Fuhrman, you're in for a treat. The information that you get from this show and from Dr. Fuhrman, just know it's a new truth for so many of us. And I hope that you consider this new truth because it could change your life. It will change your life. His latest book is Food Genocide. And let me tell you, I have an advanced copy of it, and I'm really thrilled because I had an opportunity to look at it before the show. Information that will save your life, not just change it, save it. And this book is available October 17th. And although we're giving away a book today, it will come to you later on. It's going to be sent to me, and then it'll be sent to you. October 17th, but you can pre-order this book in Amazon, and you get lots of gifts with it. So we'll talk about that later. For now, Dr. Fuhrman, tell us about pellagra real quick, because you had mentioned how this completely changed the attitudes of the people. Real quick, what is pellagra?
Well, pellagra is a disease that was very prevalent in the late 1800s and the early part of the 19th century that the medical profession denied had anything to do with nutrition. And it gave you a red neck. That's where the origin of the word rednecks came from. It gave you they call it a casual a necklace of red. It made your skin red. But it also made people disturbed them mentally and made them more prone to violence and homicidal and suicidal behavior. Wow. So it was and people blamed it on blamed it on their genes. And they birthed in that period of time a eugenics movement. The eugenics movement where people think that we're very different from, and then eventually Hitler, the white supremacy movement, embraced the eugenics movement as a means of establishing white supremacy. And then Hitler took that, and at the Nuremberg trials, the Germans claimed that, and it was true that they learned about they claimed their white supremacy emanated from the Americans, and all the books and stuff was written about the superiority of the white race from these Americans, white supremacists. So we had this birthing of a very violent and superior attitude and suppression of the black community, especially the Jim Crow laws and birth of the white supremacy movement. And what I'm saying here is that nutrition, or inadequate nutrition in the South, the diet of molasses and corn and meat, where they didn't have ordering of vegetables, it fueled a niacin deficiency disease called pellagra that made them able to more organize these poor white males and make them more violent and aggressive to accelerate their lynching of black people. And so it contributed, and through history, nobody's looking at the historical effects that nutrition had on our country. So this book goes into some of the horrors that occurred and all the denying of that nutrition was playing a role. And so we can learn from our past history because it's happening today. First, we denied lead had to do with people destroying intelligence. And now we're denying the fact and not recognizing that fast food and processed foods is destroying opportunity. It's causing depression. It's causing addiction. It's causing violence. It's causing crime. It's causing propensity for the use of drugs. Let me just say this. That's very fascinating. A couple of things here. Number one, people who eat commercial baked goods like donuts or cookies or fast food, just 2 servings a week have double the risk of developing depression. And those findings show a dose-dependent manner. In other words, it's 50% increased risk of developing depression from 2 servings a week, but it's more than 50% as you go past 2 servings a week. It's dose-dependent. So we're talking about populations in this country that are eating very poorly, and it affects their intelligence. We show now that it's not just the 50% higher risk of developing, stroke, and it's an 80% higher risk of stroke in urban areas, or twice the risk of dementia, or 4 times the risk of kidney failure, or 47 or 50% high risk of heart attack. So that people who eat fast food regularly have 10 times the risk of heart attacks compared to people who don't eat fast food regularly. It's a tremendously serious issue in America today. We're spreading disease and tragedy to all countries as the explosion of the processed food and commercial food industry and the fast food industry spreads to other countries as we spread obesity and diabetes. And we recognize that obesity and diabetes and heart attacks and strokes and dementia are being spread through fast food. but we don't recognize the brain damage, how it's destroying children's chance to learn, how it interferes with their ability to concentrate, how it's destructive to their intelligence. And another study
you cite a lot of studies in this book, and you co-wrote this. Share one of the influence of the people that have helped you with the studies and the research, because you talk about these food deserts, and you also talk about the urban areas of the African American people. Share a little bit about that, and the young man the gentleman that you changed his life as well.
Right. Well, Robert Phillips is a co-author and helped me do the research and with part of the book. The point is, and of course I have my own research team at drfuhrman.com too, so I have a lot of, but Bob Phillips himself was a man I've known for probably 15 years who originally learned about my nutritional program, the Nutritarian diet, through my first book, Eat to Live. He lost 80 pounds and he got rid of his sarcoidosis. And he had a big life-threatening type of tumor on his neck. So the point that I'm making right now is it saved his life. He made a complete recovery. He's in excellent health. He's been a dramatic nutritarian. And he helped me found drfuhrman.com with the technology. He quit his job as a vice president of Merrill Lynch back then, an executive. So he's a very successful entrepreneur and high technology guy. He worked for the U.S. government in the anti-terrorist after September 11th. He worked with the U.S. government with technology, anti-terrorism unit. Then now he's working for the field of social energy and showing how negative social influences can affect people's food choices. And so he helped me put together some of the research and some of the book. And he's so the point I'm making right now is that it's not just Dr. Fuhrman talking about the Black community.
Yes.
We have people that are living and trying to aid the Black community, including Akua Woolbright from Detroit, who discusses that, who contributed to a part of the book too, which talks about that what's going on in the universities, in the ivory towers of thought, are that people in poor urban areas, that they're not accepting of dietary change. They're not accepting of changing their diet, and it's too hard for them to really make these changes. And we're proving, and she's proving, that that's not true. That these people in the poor areas are seeing tragedy and death around them. They're very enthusiastic about making these changes to help their communities. They're actively involved. And when given the right information, when you come to these people with the right information and show them how destructive their food choices have been and how these foods can make a difference in their children's lives and how they're creating, because they see the cancer, they see the diabetes, they see the leg amputations and the blindness and the dementia and the problems that are occurring in tremendous excessive there's tremendous excessive damage to these communities that are occurring because of the lack of access to food and the lack of knowledge about how food affects the human brain.
Yes.
I'm saying right now, too, that studies have come out show that candy consumption before the age of 10 is linked to violence and illegal drug use as an adult. More statistically linked than is lack of parents, poor educational opportunities, than living in poverty. That if you can look at all the negative influences and the negative social energy, the most significant factor affecting criminal behavior and drug use shown in the medical studies is eating candy. We're talking about where parents through Halloween are decreasing the intelligence of their children. And this sugar addiction starts young and is one of the factors. We're saying that sugar addiction and sweet addiction is one of the gateway drugs to alcohol use and drug addiction and illegal drug use, and half the people in federal prisons today are there because of nonviolent drug-related offenses. Which is a big contribution of that is the diet we promoted in America and all the processed foods and commercial foods in America.
So
we're talking here about that fast food is not just what you buy at a fast food restaurant.
Correct.
Of course. We're talking it's about things in bags and boxes. And we're talking about commercial baked goods like donuts and cookies and chips, things you buy in convenience stores. We're talking about soda. For example, some fast food restaurants may choose to serve salads and choose to serve healthy food, which doesn't necessarily mean because it's fast food, it's bad.
Correct.
But we're talking about there's certain characteristics of these dangerous fast foods, right? That have.
Why don't you share those? Those are
fast. They're concentrated calories. They're low in nutrients. They're full of synthetic ingredients. They're highly palatable with extra sugar and salt and oil. They're usually very fattening, but of course, the point is that their calories are absorbed very rapidly, which sets off fat storage hormones and sets off addictive signals in the brain to want you crave those foods and think of eating them again. So they're scientifically designed to make people overeat on them, and they're particularly dangerous.
Amazing. You go through all these statistics. What is the requirement, or what's the thread that all these foods have in common? One of the things that you talk about is you call it a frankenfood, which I've heard it before, but it really truly, it's like they're piecing it. But what was the original reason why these became so acceptable, even though today we know that the foods that we're eating are causing our diseases? Why is it that today still we are so drawn to it and it's not stopped? They continue to flourish. And now we're taking this addiction to other countries that never knew cancer, that never knew diseases. Why is it that this is allowed today?
Well, what you were saying is the foods have been designed to get people hooked, and because the calories are absorbed so rapidly, and when you mix together oil, the oils, and especially cooking food and oil, with carbohydrate, it makes it like a fat injection or into your visceral fat stores, causing diabetes and obesity. In other words, when you take bread and you fry it in oil, or you take potato and you fry it in oil, you create the cooking of the oil creates carcinogenic, dangerous, rancid compounds that are so dangerous to cause cancer. But it makes the carbohydrate stored as fat more effectively. So it makes the food more dangerous, and it destroys the brain. But it gives you a mental fog. It lowers your intelligence. It makes you crave these foods more. So it's like it's hooking you in an addictive way, and it's making you lose your control of your brain's ability to think logically anymore. So in the sense that these foods lower human intelligence, they take away your ability to concentrate. They remove job performance. They dull human thinking. And in dulling human thinking, as they raise addictions, they take away people's ability to resist the addictive nature of the food. So these foods are technologically designed to hook people and to take people's resistance away so they can't break free of their addiction. So like cocaine, or like heroin, these food addictions are serious because they're not just giving people a physiological addiction, but they've also affect brain thought centers in the brain so people can't think clearly to pull them out of that addiction. They don't see that the damage that's occurring to their lives. So it comes on, and the disease process comes on very insidiously. You gain weight gradually. You become demented slowly. So you're not just demented overnight from eating the food, right? And then we have a medical profession that contributes to this, because we've taught that a drug becomes our answer to all that ails America, right? So we eat anything we want, we're addicted to these dangerous foods, and then we expect to go to doctors, and we have this medical care crisis because we have a medical system that's based on giving people poisons to deal with their food addictions instead of trying to remove food addictions.
Without a doubt. And so, Dr. Fuhrman, in your book, I love how you say eating fast food kills more people prematurely than smoking cigarettes. You have lots of different sobering facts in this book. It's called Fast Food Genocide, and you will have an opportunity at the end of the show not only to win an advanced copy of Dr. Fuhrman's book, but also a $20 gift card to start a new eating habit. We're going to continue our conversation worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Let me
You can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where you can hear us worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. And I am your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we learn from each other each day, go through life with childlike wonder. I have been observing children. If I ever think that I have a crisis or something going on in my life, just sit and watch a child. There is nothing that disturbs a child when they're at play and they're exploring. And this is how we need to continue our life. They don't know anything, or we don't think they know anything, but through their openness to grow and learn, they conquer a lot more than we do as we get our diplomas and become smarter. So this is the information we're talking today with Dr. Joel Fuhrman. It's called Fast Food Genocide. But not only this show can be heard at whenyouneedafriend.com or iTunes, Google Play Music, or iHeartRadio. You can also go to whenyouneedafriend.com, listen to all the past shows that Dr. Fuhrman has been on to wake us up from this drunken stupor we call food, that we call, it's not even nutrition. He calls it Frankenfoods. And that probably describes it the best way. So I want to encourage you to continue living a responsible life and to embrace a responsible life. And in responsibility, I talk about freedom and choice with empowerment, knowing what is truth. There was a time they thought the earth was flat, and they learned a new truth. And look at how things changed from that point on. Dr. Fuhrman has been yelling the truth from the mountaintops. And so I want to encourage you to learn this new truth, become a subscriber, because when you become a subscriber, not only do you get my 90-day challenge to self-love ebook, but did you also get my Mind, Body, Spirit Positive Affirmation audio link, but you also get the show sent to your phones or tablets. How easy is that? So I want you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, check out my sponsors, figure out ways that you can support them. Because of them, this show goes on and brings the excellent teachers that we do. So go on to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber, and grow with me. Instagram at Lillian McDermott, like me there. At Twitter, Lillian McDermott, Lillian MCD, Facebook.com/Lillian's radio show. Then we also have the phone. You can call and leave a message, or you can text me. And today after the show, be the first caller, first caller, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. And not only are you going to get a free copy, this book is not out yet, so you would get an advanced copy of Dr. Fuhrman's latest book called Fast Food Genocide, but you will also get a $20 gift card from Native Son. So the number is 407-373-5959. Wait for the show to be done, and then you can call. Dr. Fuhrman, I love your new book. I especially love your graphics, your cartoon graphics. I look at those first. I don't know what it is. And maybe it's my Sunday's cartoon little girl that comes out of me. But I love the two sharks that are having a conversation. And so the one shark says to the other one, "So why aren't we not supposed to eat humans anymore?" And the big shark says, "Because they contain too much mercury and other petrochemicals." That is hilarious. So tell me more about the book and why. And we were talking about this on the air, that we do know that we know that we're doing the wrong things for our body, but we just don't know how to give up feeling deprived of that cake or that piece of meat. So help us with the steps and how to get out of that mindset to become more of a nutritarian.
Thanks, Lily. And you know that I've been encouraging people to have better health and say, you never have to have a heart attack. Mm-hmm. Get rid of your diabetes. Get off your blood pressure medications and cholesterol-lowering drugs. Bring yourself back to normal. Drugs are not going to extend your life. Get your weight back. Live to be a centenarian. Live to be 100 years old in great health. I've been screaming this for the rooftop for years.
Yes.
But most people reading this book, my new book, they say they can't put it down. They can't stop reading it.
Yes.
It's because it's a fascinating story to just go through the history of fast food and how it's destroyed our country. And right now we're talking about how fast food is so addicting. It takes over people's brains, doesn't just make you fat. It takes over your brain so it's very hard to quit. But this knowledge about how we've been duped, mm-hmm. and how the food industry has taken over part of our brains and lowered our intelligence and stolen the American dream away from the majority of our population, kept people in poverty, because they destroyed their will to want to advance and their intelligence. That this is really setting people free, because now they're understanding more about why it's been difficult for them to stop eating unhealthfully. And the book, so it's an individual thing. You always say, put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Sure.
So you can help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're showing people how healthy food does taste great and how fast food derails the taste buds. It makes you an addict. You can't stop eating it, but it doesn't realize it makes then natural foods to have no flavor. And we show them. So we're saying that this can be an avenue or a vehicle which people can improve their health. But it's also a vehicle where we can work together and improve our society. I discussed that. So, and it's also a vehicle. We have to recognize that the food industry is contributing to racism and bigotry.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking away the opportunity for large segments of our urban populations because they don't have access to fresh food, and they have a lot of negative social pressure put on them, and it's blamed on and it's just like the white supremacy movement. It's blamed on their race, or it's blamed on their genetics, and it's not that. We're much more equal than we ever thought. Modern science has really established the emotional and intellectual equality of humans. And we're talking here about food as the major factor making these inequalities. It's not that, for example, people in urban areas who eat fast foods with 10 times the risk of heart attack, they're not genetically weak or more heart attack prone, for example. It's the food, dummy. The point is that, I discuss how even after the Civil War, we went into the statistics on when the slaves were freed, how they became very successful. They moved up the scale economically. They embraced education. They were eating vegetables then and growing a lot of their own food. And they were and that threatened a lot of whites, especially that they have their economic achievements and their educational achievements. And then how through history, and they became driven out of the South, segregated into areas of the urban cities, and access to food and growing their own food taken away from them. Then, of course, we saw negative damage to people's potential for human achievement and health issues.
Mm-hmm.
But this is an issue not just of the urban poor, and this is an issue not just in people of color. This is an issue that's affecting all Americans because the dangers of fast foods permeate all factors of society, and it's tremendously tragic and destructive. And so to our society. And the book is also discussing how these foods destroy our genes. And we not just create autism, we lower the intelligence of our children, we predispose them to food addictions, and we shorten their lifespans by our food we eat. And I show in the book that when you eat poorly and you eat badly, it most likely shortens the lifespan of 2 generations from your genetic damage that occurs to your body. So we're talking here about a lot of factors that are affecting this. We talk about the predator-prey relationship and how when a predator animal overeats their prey, it shortens their lifespan from the overeating of animal protein through various hormonal and other mechanisms. So the prey animals don't become extinct. Killing them, the predators don't live on for future generations. So there's built-in stability where overeating animal protein shortens lifespan. It doesn't just shorten your own lifespan. It shortens your children's lifespan and your grandchildren's lifespan so the prey animals can repopulate and grow again. So we're talking about how nutritional science in America has made incredible advances in the last 10 years. However, most Americans are being bombarded with myths, bad information, and gimmicks and tricks, and they still don't grasp the cornerstone, the central elements of nutritional science that will grant them the opportunity to live a long life free of disease. And we got to give our population this knowledge. And that's why I'm so passionate. We have to get this information out to people. Sure, I want to have, and so I'm going to work like crazy making this book a bestseller because I feel that it's going to prevent human tragedy. It's going to enable people to realize the American dream and succeed economically and build their happiness. And there's just so much human tragedy going on.
Yeah,
Kidney failure,
you
strokes,
talk,
dementia,
yes.
depression, mental illness, crime. So much comes out of this fast, and we have to stop this destruction.
Yes, you said that. I was just going to say that. I said you say heart attacks, strokes, adult and childhood cancers.
Right.
You talk about growing epidemic of attention deficit disorder, autism, allergies, autoimmune. All these things are created because of these frankenfoods. And when you're talking about fast food genocide, you're also talking about processed, and you're talking about it's more than just fast foods. So you're talking about sugar and how they increase your glycemic index. It's just amazing. Now we have got to step into the mentality to say, no more, Dr. Fuhrman, just no more. We have got to take our health back because I want to live a long life, but I want to be healthy. And when I live this long life, I see people at the age of 60 already in nursing homes because of the choices they made with food. They did not know any better. But as soon as you hear this message, if you continue to eat the way you have been eating and complaining about your weight, complaining about your joints, complaining about your bones, then you're creating it. So let's talk when we return, Dr. Fuhrman, about how to stop the cycle. When we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. I love your list of your superfoods, your top 10 superfoods. And I'm trying to pull up all the different cartoons. I was scrolling down my PDF and I was like, that's funny. The two that were stranded in the island and they're saying, well, maybe now we'll eat a nutritarian diet. The boat is going into the water. Who creates these things for you?
I created all the cartoons myself. They're all from, I didn't draw them, but I wrote them out what I wanted the cartoon to say, and I had an illustrator. They need an illustrator to make it.
Brilliant illustration. Let me turn off the recording. Hold on a second.
Some people don't get the alligator joke either.
Which one is the alligator joke?
They should have a teacher in front of a room showing that alligators live below the Carolinas. They only live in, and it says, "See, alligators are the cause of obesity."
I saw that one. I think I saw that one, and I'm like, I looked at it for a while, and I thought, okay, is this a jab on Florida Gators? You're in Florida now. You're in Florida. Let me turn off the recording. Hold on a sec. I just realized
we have more overweight people in the southeast part of the United States where they eat more fried foods.
Yeah.
So I'm blaming it on the alligators living there.
We're so in denial. We're so in denial. That's all I can say. And even I, Dr. Fuhrman, and for some reason I'm not able to stop the recording, but whoever's watching this will get an extra bonus. But as I had shared with you about my 80-20 rule, what is your position on alcohol?
And just to make it clear that I try very hard not to have opinions.
No, I'm talking about
just to state what the
research.
The research and science shows, so people realize I'm not promoting a particular agenda.
I understand.
Yeah, so I don't. Right. But it's hard for people. So in any case, there's so much information that alcohol is good and not bad, and I'm just saying that the data shows that women who drink 1 glass of wine per day increase their risk of breast cancer by approximately 12%. Not tremendously damaging, but it's damaging. It's a known carcinogen, mm-hmm. and it causes cancer in proportion to that you use it. The more you use it, the higher risk of cancer. You drink more alcohol, but we know around 6 glasses a week increases risk of breast cancer by about 12%. If you had 20 glasses a week, it would increase it probably by 20%. If you had 2 glasses a week, it would probably not have any. Maybe it wouldn't hold the threshold. Maybe if you just had 2 glasses a week, it wouldn't be enough to increase cancer. But but even using mouthwash with alcohol. So we have all these people in denial because alcohol thins the blood like aspirin. And because we eat a diet with a high propensity to clot, they can say, well, it reduces heart attack risk because it's a blood thinner.
But so is vitamin E.
But the cool point is, if you ate right, you wouldn't need the blood thinner, and the blood, you're still getting an increased risk of cancer, and you're still getting an increased risk of brain damage, hemorrhagic stroke. Yeah.
Well, here's our last segment, Dr. Fuhrman. I'd love to talk about the steps to change. Let's step into change, but I want to first talk about the book and all the little gifts.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. And today's teacher is Dr. Joel Fuhrman. It's like when I wake up and it's the day that Dr. Fuhrman, I'm singing, it's the most wonderful time of the week. Okay, so here we go, Dr. Fuhrman. October 17th, you have this book called Food Genocide. And for those of you who are my listeners or listening today, 407-373-5959, you will get a free copy of this book. Be the first caller after the show. And it's 407-373-5959. This book is being released October 17th. So you have all sorts of goodies, Dr. Fuhrman. If they're not winning the book today, they can go on to Amazon.com and pre-order the book. And what do they get when they do that?
Right. I want people to go to Amazon and pre-order the book because that will increase my likelihood of getting not on the New York Times bestseller list. It helps promote the book sales to have the New York Times bestseller. If enough people pre-order it. So so obviously, if you go to Amazon.com and order the book, then you'll get your order number, and you can go to drfuhrman.com/FFG, which stands for Fast Food Genocide. drfuhrman.com/FFG.
Is it forward slash or slash? Like a dash? Forward slash?
No, slash.
Okay,
yeah,
forward slash. Okay.
Yeah. And you can just go to drfuhrman.com and find it. And then we will send you immediately a chapter of the book chapter on your brain on fast food. And then plus the people that pre-order the book will have a Facebook Live event for them so they can ask me their questions and things. So we'll have a private event for the pre-orders. So I want to encourage pre-ordering. But even if it wasn't the gift, or even if you didn't get the advanced chapter, or even you didn't get the Facebook, just pre-order the book. It's a very, very fascinating read. Even if you're in excellent health, and even if you're already eating a perfect nutritarian diet, you're going to find this book incredibly fascinating. It's going to fill your brain with so much great information that you're going to become I want people to have expertise in nutrition because they can help their society, they can help their friends, they can be role models. So it's very important that people know this information.
Yeah,
and as you know, it has the solution to get people rid of food addictions. And when they really know the danger, like we said earlier, just one serving of French fries a week. One serving a week increased the risk of developing breast cancer by 26%. Two servings a week of commercial baked goods, of cookies and bagels, increased risk of depression by 50%. Even a small amount of these foods can start to entrap you and addict you and damage the brain. And then people have to know, well, what's the alternative? Yes. How do I get rid of my food addictions?
You have great recipes, Dr. Fuhrman.
The recipes, right? The recipes are fantastic.
I'm going to be making today after the show, and Robert is very excited, fudgy black bean brownies. And so I wanted to ask you a few questions about substitutions, and I'll do it after the show is done. But because I have some food allergies that I need to kind of change. But I want to step into a proactive mentality. What can we start doing today other than ordering the book and calling 407-373-5959 after the show to get a free copy if you want a free copy and a $20 gift card? What can we do to start embracing health as opposed to missing these awful foods that are killing us?
Right. Well, part of it is that we're talking about foods that are absorbed very rapidly into the bloodstream, how dangerous they are. One of the definitions of fast food is they're rapidly absorbed, floods the bloodstream with calories, which damages the brain, causes brain damage. Mm-hmm. And there are foods that oppose that slow the absorption of calories in the gut. So when you eat a mango, the calories from the mango are absorbed more slowly because you regularly eat some other foods that thicken your microbiome and slow the absorption of calories from that mango or from the oatmeal. Mm-hmm. And so I'm giving people that there are 2 raw foods and 2 cooked foods they should be eating every day that help thicken their microbiome and develop a healthy microbiome that reduces the glycemic effect of everything they eat. And those 2 cooked foods are beans and mushrooms. We want people to eat some beans, a little bit of beans every day, a little bit of cooked mushrooms every day. Beans have to be well cooked. They have to be cooked until they're soft. They're associated with longer life in all the blue zones and all the studies on longevity, so that beans lengthen lifespan and take away diabetes and help people lose weight. But so I'm saying they make other foods have a lower glycemic effect. And mushrooms have hormonal effects. They have anti-fat storage effects. They prevent fat from being stored. So I'm saying the fast foods, especially cooking carbohydrate in oil, have fat storage effects, makes your body blow up like a balloon and causes diabetes and destroys the brain. But these foods have opposite effects. They say, no way, Jose, I'm not letting you put fat on your body. So there are bad foods and there are foods that prevent those things from happening. And the 2 raw foods we want people to eat. We want them to eat raw green cruciferous vegetables like raw kale, raw collards, raw cabbage, raw bok choy, arugula, watercress. We want them to eat a little bit of raw cabbage or raw kale or raw arugula on their salad. And we want them to eat raw onions or scallions too. So we want them to consider those 4 foods, and we want most of people's fat intake to come from slow fat. The only beneficial fat you can eat are whole nuts and seeds. Whole nuts and seeds, their fat is absorbed over many hours, which inhibits fat storage on the body, and we burn those fats for energy. So we use a salad dressing made out of nuts and seeds. So we're talking here about making that's the answer. Mm-hmm. And now the practicality is you make a delicious vegetable bean soup on the weekend, or a chili, right? You make a delicious ice cream without sweeteners,
without oils too, because we don't need oils. Yeah.
Right. So example, it's a simple recipe. Everybody should know my vanilla ice cream, vanilla and ice cream recipe.
It's in this book.
Yeah, you just take some fresh vanilla bean powder and you blend it. It's the secret ingredient. It's the vanilla bean powder, not vanilla bean extract. And you just mix it with some frozen bananas and some either macadamia nuts or walnuts or coconut. And you make the most delicious ice cream you could ever eat. But the point is, and you can make a chocolate ice cream just by putting some cocoa powder in there with a date. The point I'm making right now is that the biological effects of eating sugar from fruit is very different from the biological effects of eating artificial sweeteners and honey and maple syrup and sugar, because the artificial sweeteners change the microbiome in a negative sense. The fruit sugars in the fruits have a positive effect on the growth of the microbiome through their content of fiber and the anthocyanins and bioflavonoids. We're talking here about a contralateral effect from eating sesame seed oil and sesame seeds, walnut oil from walnuts. Our salad dressing should be the whole nuts. So it end up as a contralateral, different biological effects from the sugar to eating the apricot for the sweet. Mm-hmm. Different biological effects. And people have to understand the science to know why we're making the recipes the way that we are.
Well, I tell you what, this is an eye-opener. I was sharing with you that since I had my accident, it's been easier and easier for me to kind of just become a little bit lax, because the moment you put it in your mouth, you're hooked. How long does it take, Dr. Fuhrman, for someone to say, okay, no more French fries, no more burgers, and what I'm going to embrace? Because you have the alternative. In this book, you have the we can make the healthy fast foods that we can make. I love that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to follow this week. I'm going to, I'm so excited about the fudgy black bean brownies. It looks so good. And so, as we go forward, what can you tell us as far as the person in the fence right now saying, you got to die from something?
Well, that's their food addictions talking.
Okay.
Because the food addictions, people come up with irrational thoughts and self-delusions so they can continue damaging their body. And they feel that way until they have their first stroke or their heart attack or their cancer diagnosis, and then they say they should have listened. They always look back and say, I should have listened back then. They call me from the hospital and said, I'm sorry for not listening back there 5 years ago, but now I need your help. And I'm saying, well, you should have done it 5 years ago, not wait till you lost half your brain with a stroke. Yeah. All those people don't realize it's not themselves talking. That's what food addictions do to the brain. And those people in denial, thinking that it's not for them, are the people that need this the most. Those are the people that need this the most. So this education and information can set these people free, because their food addiction is a prison. It's a prison derailing their opportunity and happiness in life. It puts a cloud over their thoughts. It makes them no longer emotionally excited about life. It interferes with their ability to really have a happy life and have the full mental faculties as their age. And nobody should have that happen to them.
Oh, Dr. Fuhrman, I love it when you come on. I feel it's like a pep rally for me when you come on. I'm very grateful to you. For those of you, my listening friend, go to Amazon.com. Help Dr. Fuhrman create another best-selling book. October 17th it's released, but you can call now, 407-373-5959. Call, leave a message, first caller, texter, $20 gift card from Native Son, and the book, Food Genocide. Dr. Fuhrman, you're an amazing man. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Good luck and best of health to you and all your listeners.
Thank you. And to you, my listening friend, remember, you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Okay, I'm just going to, mic's off. So here's the thing, Dr. Fuhrman. I am allergic to almonds. I'm also allergic to What else is in this recipe that I wanted to talk to you about? So we have, one second. So we have in this, it calls for 2 tablespoons of raw almond butter. Can I do cashews or walnuts?
Sure. Do whatever nut you like.
Okay. And then it also, in many of your recipes, it calls for hemp or soy. And I usually use coconut milk, or I use coconut milk, and I just bought some cashew milk because.
But hemp or soy are healthier milks.
But they taste kind of funky.
Okay.
I mean, I'll do the soy.
If
I'll do
the small amount, then do the small amount. But
Okay, so I have a gentleman that I made some tofu, some incredible tofu.
In the recipe, it's going to taste fine, by the way.
Okay, no matter what.
You're not drinking a glass of it anyway.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So the next question I have for you is I made some curry tofu. It's a delicious recipe I make, and it's non-GMO, all organic curry tofu. And the guy said, I'm not having that because, and I said, why? And he goes, tofu's bad. I said, why is tofu bad? Oh, it creates a lot of estrogen in the body, and I'm a male man, and I'm a male, and I don't want estrogen in my body. What do you say to something like, what is your research say? You
say to these people that instead of believing myths that you hear on the internet, you have to have you have to be skeptical of these things that are promoted to you. Okay. And you have to look at what the studies show. And the studies don't indicate that. That's just a myth. The studies indicate that actually women who eat tofu have lower rates of breast cancer, that it doesn't promote estrogen, that genistein and these compounds actually block the estrogen from stimulating the estrogen receptor. So he's incorrect, and he should, if he wants to have an opinion that's so strong like that, he should at least have access to the studies as to where his opinion is based.
Okay, so let me
present me the study that shows that.
Yes.
Show me the studies of why you came to that opinion.
Exactly.
Because Dr. Fuhrman has put together a review of all the studies on tofu and showing the opposite.
Okay, so this is why I'm not drinking soy milk, because another thing you said in my show, that the soy isolate is what's damaging, and they're serving this to
soy isolate in soy milk.
You don't put soy isolate, but babies get it in their milk.
That's soy formula.
Yeah, and they put soy isolate in there, don't they?
I'm not recommending soy formula for babies. But it doesn't mean people can't drink soy milk or have tofu.
Okay, I'll switch to that from now on. That was what was keeping me. It's that you get these messages and they implant in your brain. They're like memes. They go into your brain and they don't go back. So I've been meaning to ask you this, because more and more people are telling me, oh, I can't have soy. But you recommend, the studies and the research show that tofu and tempeh. I noticed that you have a lot of tofu and tempeh.
Right. Decrease the risk of breast cancer. And even in women who already have breast cancer, it decreases the risk of recurrence of breast cancer if they eat soy and tempeh.
Wow. This information, I truly believe. This is just my belief. And I'm going to say there's no research or foundation to what I'm saying. But I believe the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry are in cahoots with one another, because think about it. One feeds the other. It's a perfect cycle.
Right. And the meat industry and the people wanting to eat meat and the paleo people, they want to make it seem like soy is bad, because then it justifies their eating of meat, because soy is a high protein plant food. So they've attacked soy. They've attacked soy particularly as part of their strategy to lessen the growth of the vegan movement.
Well, I'm very grateful that you shared this. And where is it that we can send people if they want to formulate? Because if we're saying, look at the studies, where can we find these studies, Dr. Fuhrman?
I have at drfuhrman.com. I have a whole section of library of articles. They could search. They put the word soy in the article and pull up an article on anything they want to learn about. I have hundreds of articles on every subject, including flax seeds and soy and everything else there at Dr.
Perfect. drfuhrman.com. I'm going to put this on my Facebook page, and I'll put it on YouTube as well. Dr. Fuhrman, I am always grateful for your time. I know you're in Jamaica. Before we go, do you want to share a little bit about what you're doing in Jamaica?
Yeah, very, very exciting work.
Yes.
I have this opportunity working with a company called OneCare to bring the nutritarian diet to the Jamaican people, and to work to have it be a part of a computerized program that people with diseases, their doctors recommend they get this program that teaches them the nutritarian diet and reverses their high blood pressure, reverses their diabetes, reverses their heart disease right over their phones, and teaches them and their families how to eat better to really change the health of people here.
Amazing.
So we're trying to work with the government of Jamaica and the universities here to make this be a whole model country of nutritarian and great health and longevity and superior health. And they already have embraced a lot of these ideas about eating what we grow, and the Jamaican people and the Jamaican government is very enthusiastic and very much moving and have moved a lot in this direction already in recognizing that fast food is so destructive to the population and trying to keep that out of here and to improve and to keep control healthcare costs and to elevate the intellectual potential of Jamaicans by keeping their brains functioning by staying away from fast food and junk food.
Wow.
So
What are the studies?
It's a great marriage that we're working on. We'll probably develop in the next couple of years.
Wow. What is the studies in Jamaica about dementia and Alzheimer's? How have they dealt? Are they seeing a rise in that? Do they have a lot of fast food restaurants trying to creep in there?
Absolutely. And because of that, they're seeing an explosion in diabetes and obesity here in Jamaica, which is nowhere near the level we have in the States.
Yeah.
And nowhere near in some of the Polynesian islands where we've taken over where the American food industries have infiltrated a lot of the Polynesian islands, and the whole islands have become diabetic and obese. Like all areas of Polynesia that American food industries have destroyed and made the whole populations diabetic. So we're talking about destruction of whole peoples, of whole races due to prolonged food. And they don't want that to happen here in Jamaica.
Well, I am so grateful I'm so honored, Dr. Fuhrman. I just have to say this. I am very honored that you are so committed to the show and sharing the information with my listening friends and now our viewing audience and through YouTube and Facebook as well. And well done, thy good and faithful servant. That's all I can say.
Thank you. All right.
And good luck with your trip this time. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.